When we imagine the samurai, we often picture their gleaming swords, their towering castles, or their elegant armor. But one of the most striking symbols of these warriors was their mask. Known as menpō or mengu, samurai masks were both functional and terrifying. They protected the face in battle, but more importantly, they projected fear. To see a samurai charging at you with a grimacing iron face was to face not just a man, but the image of a demon. The origins of samurai masks can be traced back to the early days of armored warfare in Japan. By the 10th and 11th centuries, samurai wore simple helmets and face guards, often made of leather or iron. These early designs were practical. They protected the face from arrows and sword strikes. But as the centuries passed, the masks became more elaborate, blending protection with psychological warfare. The samurai knew that war was as much about the mind as the body. If a mask could terrify an opponent before the first strike, it gave the wearer an advantage. By the Sengoku period, when Japan was engulfed in civil war, masks had become a standard part of samurai armor. They were often made of iron or leather, shaped to cover the cheeks, nose, and sometimes the entire face. Many were decorated with fierce mustaches, grimacing mouths, and exaggerated expressions. Some even had detachable noses or movable jaws, designed to both intimidate enemies and allow the wearer to breathe easily. The design of samurai masks was deeply influenced by Japanese culture and religion. Many were modeled after oni, demons from Japanese folklore. These creatures were seen as powerful, fearsome beings, and by wearing a mask that resembled them, a samurai could embody their spirit. Others were styled after mythical animals, fierce warriors, or even Buddhist guardians. Each mask was not only a piece of armor but a statement of identity and belief. Functionally, masks also helped secure the helmet, or kabuto, to the warrior's head. Straps tied beneath the chin made sure the helmet would not fall off in the chaos of battle. Some masks included a yodar cake, a throat guard made of small metal or leather plates, which protected the neck. This combination of mask and helmet created a nearly impenetrable defense for the samurai's head, one of the most vulnerable parts of the body. But beyond protection, the psychological impact was immense. Imagine facing a samurai cavalry charge, the thunder of hooves in your ears, banners whipping in the wind, and then you see a line of grimacing iron faces rushing toward you. The masks dehumanize the warriors, turning them into something otherworldly. The man behind the mask disappeared. In his place stood an unstoppable force. Many enemies fled before battle was joined, undone by fear alone. The artistry of samurai masks was remarkable. Craftsmen known as kachushi specialized in armor making, creating helmets, cuirasses, and masks that were both functional and beautiful. Each mask was carefully hammered from sheets of iron, polished and lacquered to resist rust. Artisans added details like gold leaf, horsehair mustaches, and painted designs. The result was not just protection, but a work of art. Fierce, expressive, and unique. No two masks were exactly alike, and each reflected the character of its wearer. Samurai masks also carried symbolic meaning. A warrior might choose a design that reflected his clan, his personal beliefs, or his desired image. Some masks were designed to look calm and composed, showing that the samurai feared nothing. Others were grotesque, designed to terrify. Still others were almost comical, with exaggerated smiles mocking the enemy. The mask became an extension of the samurai's spirit, his weapon as much as his sword. Even within a single army, masks varied widely. Commanders often wore the most elaborate designs, signaling their rank and intimidating their foes. Foot soldiers wore simpler versions, but even these carried the same aura of menace. The battlefield became a theater of iron faces, each mask a role in the deadly drama of war. Samurai masks were not limited to war. They were also used in ceremonies, parades, and displays of power. When a lord hosted guests, he might display his armor and masks as a show of wealth and strength. The mask, more than the sword, symbolized the samurai's fearlessness. To wear one was to declare oneself beyond human fear, embodying the spirit of the warrior. As the Tokugawa period began in the early 17th century, Japan entered a time of relative peace. Wars between rival clans gave way to order under the shogunate. The role of samurai changed from battlefield warriors to administrators and bureaucrats. Yet their masks remained powerful symbols, even when swords were rarely drawn. In this new age, masks became more ceremonial. Samurai no longer needed them daily in combat, but they continued to wear them in parades, processions, and rituals. The designs grew even more elaborate, showcasing wealth and craftsmanship. Golden inlays, lacquer finishes, and intricate details turned the masks into works of art. They were less about survival and more about identity, proof of belonging to the warrior class. One particularly striking element was the menpō's expression. Many masks from the Tokugawa period featured fierce grimaces, bulging eyes, or twisted mouths. These designs connected the wearer to the legacy of warriors past. They were reminders that, even in times of peace, the samurai were always ready for war. Other masks took on calmer, stoic expressions, reflecting Zen ideals of composure and control. In both cases, the mask revealed not just a face, but a philosophy. Samurai masks also reflected status. High-ranking daimyo commissioned masks from the best artisans, decorated with rare materials. Their masks were intended to impress allies and intimidate rivals during ceremonial displays. Lower-ranking samurai wore simpler versions, though even these carried the same aura of discipline and fear. To walk into a hall wearing a mask was to step into a role larger than life, to embody the entire warrior tradition. The influence of masks extended beyond the battlefield and the parade ground. In theater, masks inspired performances in no and kabuki plays, blending art and war. In religion, masks resembled guardian deities and demons, linking the samurai to the spiritual world. Even today, samurai masks appear in festivals, martial arts, and popular culture where their grimacing faces remind us of Japan's warrior past. But why did masks matter so much? At their core, they represented transformation. A man who put on a mask became more than himself. He became the warrior ideal, fearless, unyielding, terrifying to his enemies. The mask erased weakness and humanity, replacing it with the spirit of the samurai. It was armor for the soul as much as for the face. As the 19th century brought the end of the samurai class, masks faded from daily use. Many were destroyed, melted down, or sold. Yet some survived, preserved in temples, museums, and private collections. Today, these masks are treasures of cultural heritage, admired not only for their craftsmanship but for the stories they tell. Each mask carries the spirit of the warrior who once wore it, a silent reminder of battles fought and lives lived under the code of the samurai. In the modern world, samurai masks have taken on new meaning. They appear in films, anime, and games as symbols of power and mystery. Collectors prize them for their artistry. Martial artists study them for their history, and audiences around the world recognize their iconic forms. From the battlefield to the stage to the screen, the samurai mask endures. The fear they once inspired is now fascination. No longer instruments of war, they have become windows into a past where warriors wore iron faces to confront death. The samurai mask remains a symbol of courage, art, and the eternal human desire to become something greater than oneself.